What's up, everybody? This is Cowboy Mike. We are coming to you live today from the Outlaw Barbecue Revolution Smoke Shack at Black Monk Brewery. We'll get back to that. We'll tell you what that's all about. It's been a minute. This is going to be a really fun episode today. I don't think we've posted anything since early summer. Might be longer, not sure. But with me, Dan's here today. We're going to talk about some pretty big updates. Let's jump right into it. Dan, we made the year. So, Outlaw Barbecue Revolution 2021 to 2022. What do you think about making a year?
I think we've proven some local quote-unquote professionals wrong in their projection for what they said that we could do in the first 12 months of operation. So, I mean, that's kind of exciting. It's nothing that I didn't really expect, but it's just kind of satisfying that, they gave such a low projection of what we'd be able to accomplish in 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then to blow that completely out of the water, I think is pretty amazing for the whole team involved. So.
Yeah. So we have the original location, which is 38th and Elmwood, 3802 Elmwood, and that's the location that's been open a year. We have a second location, and we'll probably do a whole episode on this one. There's the Westlake Road location.
Yeah, you might know the address if you listen to earlier podcast.
Yeah.
3040 Westlake Road.
And then not long after that opened, so that one opened October 8th was the first day. Yeah, the 8th. And then our third one, and we're here 5 days a week, the Smoke Shack. Day one for this place was the 12th. So 4 days later, we have another place open 5 days a week. And so at that point, we hadn't even been open 13 calendar months yet.
True, and then you didn't even talk about the Nostrovia location.
Yeah. That one is a little bit different than this specific, because Black Monk, for those of you that aren't local, Black Monk is a brewery in Erie, Pennsylvania. Nostrovia is another brewery in Erie, Pennsylvania. We actually did a pop-up, more than one pop-up at Nostrovia first. We haven't done one since. That's something we should circle back to. There's another thing I want to talk to Jeff about. Cool project. But that was actually first. But Jeff has a kitchen. So that's where it's a little different. Black Monk didn't have a kitchen. Nostrovia did. That's why I think this one went 5 days a week early. Looking back, what do you think? What are some of the highlights?
Oh, geez, I don't know. We've done so many cool things in this first year open. We got invited to Celebrate Erie. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
We've done actually more than a couple. We've done a bunch of weddings.
Yeah.
A lot of those have been really cool. Graduation parties, like so many different venues, so many things that I didn't think that I never would have thought, like, somebody's gonna have barbecue at a this event or that event.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the really cool things was we did Rib Fest in September, and we actually took 2 trophies from Rib Fest this year. So that was pretty
trophies.
Cool. Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
A little bit.
2019, 2 trophies. 2020, 2022, 2 trophies. That was fun. It was fun. There was we'll probably do a completely separate episode on that Rib Fest. It was definitely different. We were more involved a touch more involved with the infrastructure of Ribfest. This past one, I remember we got Justin here too, guys. Justin, he was on an earlier podcast. He's not mic'd up, but you probably can still catch some audible. But we were carving down or cutting up the competition ribs, and my entire hand like locked up into position, and it was like I was holding a knife and I couldn't take my grip off. And I don't remember in Ribfest's past it doing that at that specific moment, but it was right before turn in, and I was like, uh-oh. Weddings. I think weddings, we had to have done at least a dozen, maybe pushing 18.
Without a doubt.
This season, because some people had it. A lot of people had weddings in a rustic setting, or they wanted simple food. They didn't want anything like really super fancy. There's a traditional sit down. There's just been, I don't know, movement away from it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, people are just, I don't know, they seem to have latched on to just having that stuff a little different fashion than, your typical, Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very valid point. Like, I mean, look at, like, the Labor Day parade that we did this year. The one quote came back at, like, geez, I don't know, it was like $3,000 for, like, chicken and something, and then, our quote was way underneath that.
And we were giving the premium stuff, brisket pulled pork, for a more affordable price.
It doesn't really, I don't really recall if it was the first wedding that we booked, but I just remember taking the phone call, and the woman was hysterical on the phone, and I'm like, you just got to calm down. Like, I can't understand like what's happening. And apparently, like, the gist of the story was she had booked through somebody else, and they kept jacking her around on the price, like increasing it and just being kind of, I don't know, not upfront. And I think they came in. There had to be one of the first ones we did. It was definitely the first like handful of weddings that we did.
It was one of the first ones we booked. They came later in the season, but it's for sure one of the first two that we booked.
And then for there, it seemed like it snowballed.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, we've done some really cool stuff with the Fraternal Order of Police.
Oh yeah, we did a couple of FOP events. I think we did 8 Great Tuesdays,
which, if you don't know, is a music event that happens down on our bayfront at an amphitheater that we have right on the water.
We're working on one of their 2023 events. They have us in mind for. We've also done a lot of golf scrambles, like they're not only golf scrambles, but the ones I remember, there are golf scrambles for boosters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've also done some stuff for the Mill Creek Police Association.
Yeah.
Which is
the sportsman raffle.
Well, I was trying to explain what the Mill Creek Police Association was for people that live around here. So it's a township, Mill Creek Township. They have their own police association. We've done some things with them.
Yep.
Oh man, I don't know. We've just done so much stuff.
Oh yeah, we did. That's the other thing. We sponsored. Justin's brought up the autism walk. We've done a ton of the raffles, right?
Yeah, ton of those.
Ton of the raffles. Like I swear I have more than 2 dozen outstanding, waiting to come back.
Yeah.
We've got 100-person one this upcoming December. I want to say it's 13th or the 19th. I put it on the calendar, but it's within that range, the 13th to the 19th. We're talking with Fish USA. Yeah,
that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, yep. Those guys. We just did Community Health Net, their holiday party. That was earlier this week. So funny, that wedding that you talked about that we booked, one of the staff members at Community Health Net stopped me while I was getting on the elevator and said, that wedding you did for my friends at St. Boniface Picnic Grove, everyone loved the food. They couldn't stop talking about it. So it was funny that we were delivering the food for this luncheon, and someone intentionally stopped me to tell me about the experience at that wedding.
No, I mean, that kind of stuff happens quite often to me, actually, because just of like what I do outside of this stuff, because I always have the hat on, or I have the shirt or the sweatshirt on.
Yep.
So that kind of stuff happens quite frequently. It happened the other day. We did a benefit for a friend of ours. They found out their 6-year-old has leukemia, and after that event, like, I've probably been stopped 10 times. Yeah. Just from random people I don't even know.
And by we folks, Dan means he, because I had some comment on the event. Dan and I were sitting in the office and we were just chatting about it. So I gave some intellectual input on it, but Dan did all the legwork in the organization. He said, he handed the flyer, said, somebody, here's the info, put a flyer together. Dan did all that. Jen and Julie, we held the benefit at Westlake, and Jen organized all the people to kind of come in and upstaff the event. Julie kitchen-sided. Dan was even running food during that event. I was not at that event at all. I was actually doing another benefit auction at the convention center that night. So I was at the Signature Chef auction while they were at the other benefit at Westlake Road. I haven't heard the numbers come back on that one, but I'm kind of interested to see how that one turned out.
Which one? The benefit or the signature auction? The
signature auction. The benefit numbers, call that out. How much? You guys do have the numbers on that.
We had 126 or 127 people come through, which I thought was impressive because I literally did this thing in like a week. And I don't know, that seemed to be a going trend for us. Like, we always fire these things off at a very short notice.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe we both just like working under pressure. I don't know what it is.
It's probably when we do best,
but
I'm just saying.
I thought that went over really well. And then I talked with the parents and I got an okay to run a special like side menu at the A Street location. That partial proceeds of that will go directly to the family to help with some medical expenses and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's awesome. Angel, I don't want to speak for her. I will kind of tease what she said though. One of the reasons why she likes this organization is because of this component of how we're integrated with giving back, right?
I don't know that we've ever like talked about it or spoke about it, but that was one of the main things that I brought. Like you asked me what I thought this place should be, and I said we got to give back to the community, and I don't think there was ever a time where either one of us had any like difference of opinion on how that was going to look or work. So it's just, I mean, for us, it's just kind of the no-brainer part of this, the way this whole thing operates. And I guess for some people that don't really know those like building blocks or how we come to be what we are, I guess that to them it would be kind of a different,
way of seeing it. Yeah. My start with it starts all the way back in my corporate days. So what I noticed back in those times was that the VPs would look at the margins, right? They'd always look at the margins. So they'd look up roll-up data. And we really didn't deviate from that. So the way I designed my incentive programs was, number one, they had to pay for themselves, so they don't really cost you anything out of pocket, right?
Right.
Number two, they have to drive up numbers or whatever you're tracking. If it's sales, it's sales. If it's ticket size, it's ticket size. Whatever you're tracking, it has to drive that. And so what I would then do is look at what I projected to increase the numbers by. In this case, we'll talk revenue. And then I would say, okay, if that's my projected revenue, how do I hit the margin target? What do I have to spend? And that extra spend is what I used to roll into my contests, right? My contests and incentives. So really, the only thing we're doing here is kind of doing that same thing. We are, instead of what I was doing then, driving it to the employee base, now we're doing two things: driving it to employee base and driving it to parts of the community or segments or programs in the community that really impact life here in the region. So so this is kind of a throwback for everyone. Better to go back and listen to the other episodes if you haven't heard them. But then I ran into Dan, and the way I remembered Dan from that moment and now, it's like, this is Dan. So what does Dan do? He helps people. That's what he does. That's just the type of guy he is. And so maybe in another episode we'll talk more about what that means functionally. But to give you an example, he got involved with this Christmas group or this Giving Tree group, and he did so well that I think people in that group said, Dan's the real Santa.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, man. Like, I had to lock down my Facebook and my Messenger because it just was nonstop.
Yep.
There was like 100 families that I, got them like sponsored for Christmas, and it just was nonstop like messages, and I'm just like, I don't do it for the attention. So
yeah,
I don't really do anything for the attention of it. I just do it. Like you said, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of just my thing, I guess. Just help people. So.
Yeah. Dan knows things and helps people. Those are if he has two pillars: learn stuff, know stuff, helps people. There is no broader generalization that's better.
Yeah. So I've been told anyway.
What else have we done in the past year?
Oh man, we've done stuff with the Sons of Lake Erie.
Oh yeah, Sons of Lake Erie.
I don't really know how the best way to describe them. They're like a group that protects the waterways for fishermen, I guess is the best way to describe them.
Yeah. Well, I beyond
It's
fishermen,
beyond that, but
Yeah.
that's kind of their
yeah,
jam.
you know, the waterways are not reserved for, you know, not to throw shade here, but they want the person who just wants to walk up to the lake and go fishing to be able to do that.
Yep.
They don't want private companies or private individuals to really be able to lock it up, so that because they have that whole fishing poles for kids program. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
But they take groups of children out to fish and teach them how to fish. They give them free poles. They kind of want to preserve, you know, that part of the sport.
And it's also they're preserving the public right of way to get to the waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they go way beyond any of that stuff. But that's just kind of a general, you know, explanation of what they are for somebody that doesn't have one in their area.
Yeah, if you Google search them, they're on Facebook. You can find them. They have a website, Sons of Lake Erie. I think it's Save Our Native Species.
I believe so.
Yeah. Sons is just the acronym. What else have we done?
I'm trying to think. I don't know, there's been so much stuff.
I mean, we did the Dash event again.
Yeah.
Again.
That was really nice. Like, next year,
10th year.
It's the 10th year, so
yeah,
I got something up my sleeve. I think.
Very nice.
I gotta still.
Gonna go off with a bang.
I gotta work out where I have the logistics of that. I know Joe listens to this sometimes, so I'm not saying what it is.
Yeah.
Nice try. But
Secret Joe. Sorry.
yeah, that's a really good event. Love that event. Oh, we did the Emergicare event too.
Yeah, the Garage Gala.
Yeah.
We're doing more things with them next year. I just contacted Lisa yesterday, and I left some Q for a Cause checks up at the store. She's supposed to come by today and pick them up. But
People don't know what the Q for a Cause is. We have mason jars up there with a bunch of the organizations that we donate to. And then when you buy your food, you get a token or a chip, whatever you want to call it. You can stick that in the jar, and then, you know, that equates to an amount of money.
Yep.
And then every so often we'll write a check for it and ship it off to them.
On that, again, another episode just about that. That was a dog at the very beginning. Like, I remember so there's a Q for a Cause program, and then rolled up underneath it there's like a menu program, and that iteration fell flat. It wasn't as good, like, because people love the cheesesteak, but they started buying the cheesesteak for the cheesesteak, and they had no idea that it was a part of the menu. So we're like, okay, this menu thing is not working at all.
No, but I mean, that's part of, you know, growing the idea.
Yep.
I think the jars work way better. You physically hand them a chip. They have to go put it in a jar.
Yep.
At some point, so
we changed it. The Chip for Charity program is the third iteration, the third program under Q for a Cause, and it is the only current program. It is the most successful one, and we're about to roll out another set of charitable organizations that we're adding. All of that is member driven, so stay tuned for more on that on our Facebook page. The sporting teams, Erie Outlaws.
Yeah. Erie Outlaws, Little League.
Yeah.
If nobody knows, they're a little league baseball team,
Mm-hmm.
and they also have little league softball teams for, you know.
Mm-hmm. We've supported Erie High women's basketball, right? The basketball team, the softball team, the Erie High softball team, McDowell Children's wrestling, Meadville volleyball. I didn't know.
I think we did McDowell hockey too, right?
McDowell hockey as well. Yeah. If there's anything that slipped through the cracks, it's merely because we've just been busy. I don't know that I've not done something for the organizations that have come.
Yeah. I don't think like inevitably we're gonna miss something.
Yeah.
Just trying to, run it all off out of memory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess I would view this episode as kind of like a teaser of what we're going to be talking about on future episodes.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
right?
Because we really haven't talked in depth about any one subject, so
yeah,
this is just a teaser.
Exactly. There's a bunch of spin-off pods to this one. There's just so much that we could make a complete episode, but it's been so long, and so usually around Erie, things tend to slow down in the winter, and we just hit our first really major snow, and so we have this opportunity where it's a little bit slower than it would be, say, by the time we get to this same exact spot next summer. So it's a puzzle, right? We got to figure out when we can lay down these tracks and just talk about stuff. So this is the current version of this at the Smoke Shack. 100% different mic setup. We're trying to be more mobile, more flexible. This one will definitely not go to edit. It'll just go out. So if you're hearing background noise, this is a working space, right? This is a working space.
Yeah, definitely not. No, I mean, it's kind of soundproof, but not.
Yeah. Oh,
we have our little assistant in here today.
Yeah.
Helping out.
We've got Ella.
Product checking chips currently.
Yeah. She's quality controlling chips.
There's so much so much stuff. Like I can't really keep them all straight. Like we've done so many different things.
I even planned my own solo episode for an annual roll-up, and I wrote down on a legal pad like all the organizations that we've partnered with in one way or the other, and it's one full page, 2 columns, and part of the next page.
Like I said, we're inevitably going to miss something without having the list in front of us.
Yeah.
So if we missed you and you're listening, it was non-intentional.
Yeah. We appreciate the partnership. We hope we helped you guys out. You definitely helped us out. Strong Vincent.
Oh yeah.
Strong Vincent, the
middle school.
The middle school. We just did something with those guys.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was like a meat auction.
Yeah. I guess they're really popular in Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo and the surrounding New York area. I guess they're super popular up there. So they tried to bring that same idea down. I think it went over pretty decent.
Yeah, same.
It was definitely cool.
I mean, one of the weddings we did was Conneautville Lake.
Conneautville, yeah.
Yeah. Justin, who's in here with us, he actually tended pit. So
poor Justin thought he was going down just to assist.
Yeah.
And that was the same exact weekend as Celebrate Erie.
Yeah.
So poor Justin got bamboozled, and he thought he was going down to assist, and he ended up going down there to
execute the plan,
run the whole thing, because that's just how stuff seems to work for us.
Yeah.
So the poor guy wins a contest, and then all of a sudden he's an employee. We're still unsure of how exactly it all transpired, but as it stands, here he is. So
I think he's the better for it. Just to be crystal clear, we had a conversation last night, and he's had a lot of aha moments between then and now. It's pretty cool. I think Dan and I had always talked about this. Anthony as well. If you go back and listen to the Anthony pods, we talk about helping people come up and trying to help people learn lessons that we did, but earlier and without less friction, you know? And sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, sometimes
sometimes the individual isn't ready to receive said information.
Yeah, everyone has their own path, but if we can help figure that out, a better way, or a more I don't know what the word is.
A smoother transition.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, that's always the aim. But we recognize that everybody has their own way of learning. Westlake's kind of a big deal. Westlake Road, 3040 Westlake Road, right? For those who haven't, go listen to the earlier pods.
Like the really, really early ones.
Yeah. Like episode 1 through 9.
Yeah, I mean, one's a train wreck, but you can just do it anyway.
Yeah, I go back and listen to episode 1 every now and again, just to get a sense of that's where we started, right?
I mean, that episode 1, I mean, that was like, hey, Mike, I think we should do a podcast. Mike's like, sure, let's do it.
Yep.
We sign up at our local community access. You know, it used to be called Community Access Television. Now it's Community Access Media.
Mm-hmm.
But our community, whatever. Yeah, Community Access Media. We signed up over there. Just sat down at a thing. Had to go to a class or two.
Mm-hmm.
Got released to use it. Laid down that first episode. We had no idea what we were doing.
None whatsoever. There's a lot of cool things that we learn, and I can tell you now, if you're really going to put together a podcast, I wouldn't do it that way. Not because it's not possible to do it that way, but I'll show you later. I started using other means to record podcasts, and they have so much more stuff integrated now. Like, you can, as easy as it is to edit your picture, you can add music track. You can, it's very easy to do now. And from like, think about architecture, right? Hardly anybody uses the old form of drawing it by hand these days. Right?
Oh yeah.
I kind of look at it like exactly like that. The software we have and the setup we have, that's a setup you need if you're going to edit podcasts full time. But I'm a consumer of podcasts, and I listen to guys who make them, and everybody inevitably talks about how they started, what they're doing, and here's how I do it. They weave it into their story.
If you go back and look at like one of the first ones where we tried to have somebody like remote in, we did it through like calling on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
That was just man, we had so many technical problems with that. And now you can just go on to, like, you can start a Discord and just bring them all in, and there's a bot you can have on Discord that'll voice track everybody independently.
There's even in some of the more modern software, they integrated that bot free. It's just an app feature. It says send link, and you send it to whoever you're inviting, and they come in on their own device, and
records everybody independent. You can adjust it all. Like,
Yep.
I mean, we even did it. We did one that was really crazy because we had the person call in, and then they added a call to their call.
Yeah.
To do like it was a hot mess.
That
was the Big Bo podcast. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
We gotta get him back on again. He's recently went through some health things, so hopefully he can join us on one at some point.
Yeah.
We gotta get back with the
modcast
with my counterparts at the modcast.
Yeah.
See how they've been holding up in post pandemic.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I think we got ice falling off our roof.
Oh. It's probably ice.
Yeah. We just got so much stuff. Like, just fun.
Mm-hmm.
Bought a really, really nice smoker.
Oh.
Recently. That was kind of cool. Not really recently now, but
it's more recent than you think.
Yeah, I mean, it was September.
It's not even 2 months yet.
Right.
Just 2 months.
Just yeah.
When you think about it, that
got out of work, met up with you. We rode to Tennessee.
Yep.
Picked it up, turned around, rode straight back.
Yeah.
Which that is not a short ride.
No.
At all. That was interesting.
We only visited in little out of the way places. We stopped at that one diner. It
was like a 50s style diner. That place was pretty cool.
That was cool. Small, out of the way. We didn't want to go. Yeah, we didn't want to go big box.
Place we ate dinner at after we got out of that stupid traffic jam. That was pretty nice place.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird because it was like a dive bar, but in a hotel.
Yeah.
So it was really, really odd. Good food. Good food. Yeah.
We got more adventures.
Remember our the black powder shootout that we did?
Oh yeah.
When somebody forgot the keys for the truck.
Yeah. I do that, guys. So
good times.
A lot of the time we have so much stacked. And so I'll out myself here. The girls at work like to say, "Did you find your new limit yet?" Because every time I find what my limit is, I just upgrade. And I'm like, okay, if this is my limit, let's see what my limit can be, right? So one weekend, we had been doing like 2 events a weekend, 3 events a weekend, and then I remember one weekend I upped it to 5.
Yeah.
5 events in one weekend. And with the crew that we had in that minute, it wouldn't work on the steady state. If we actually engaged all of the modern folks, maybe in a 2.0 version rerun of that. But in that specific zone, time window, if you want to call it that, 5 was a bit much.
Justin's not approving the 5 events in one weekend thing.
Justin is our event setup guy, so he's always with me. Like it's 1-2 in the morning, and he's out there setting up tents, arranging equipment with me, and so he's like, I don't want to do 5 events in a weekend. Now, to be fair, we're working on different ways to make that easier, right? Like, we got the trailer, and that's eventually going to have a build out, right? We've got all the pieces to make it happen. Even the smoke shack was a prelude to that build. This was kind of like how do you meet code? How do we practice? Yeah, actually, the organizer, Black Powder Shootout organizer, she visited us at Ribfest. She's now local.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She runs, she's like the GM at one of the stores in the mall now.
I mean, they owned Abe's General Store, right?
Yeah.
They let that go, or?
I didn't get the full story. Maybe we'll bring her on and talk about that. But yeah, the Reader's Digest version of that is had to put that down. Now up here, her daughter goes to Gannon, if you remember. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's why they were in the area
in the first place.
Yeah.
When they first connected with us. What else?
Oh, we met some cool people at Celebrate Erie.
Oh yeah, some cool partnerships.
Yeah, met some cool people at Ribfest.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be an interesting partnership. The one that come about from Ribfest, the Grumpy Goat Distillery in Lancaster.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Who?
Tom.
Who? You and somebody else said if you want to do something, talk to Mike about sauces. But there were two people that said it. It was you, and I don't remember the other person that said it. And then there's this is a new one. Then there's the Ironstone.
Ironstone Meadery. Yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah. We got the Ironstone project.
And we're still trying to work with Stagnelli's for the sauces.
Mm-hmm.
Stagnelli's is a locally owned establishment. They do a lot of private label stuff for some other local small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
We are attempting to get them to do our sauces for us because it's easier for them to get through all the regulatory stuff than it would be for us to start from scratch. So.
Mm-hmm. Which we did try to do.
Yeah, but I'm sure wherever you guys live, you know that dealing with your government entities are probably just as cumbersome and tedious as dealing with ours.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't want to say it's difficult in terms of level of difficulty. There's just a lot of steps.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's just a long, drawn-out process.
Yeah. So that's when people say it's hard. I don't think anything that we're doing is actually hard. I think there is just forms and meetings and interviews. There's just a ton of steps, and that's what makes it "quote unquote" hard. Yeah, but the steps, any one singular step, I don't think is challenging.
Same
at all. Yeah.
Like I don't think anything individually is hard to accomplish. I just think that when you stack them all, it becomes not even overwhelming. It's just a lot to put on top of everything else that we have going at the same time.
Yeah. To be crystal clear, not that I have real functional knowledge of this, but from the way you describe it, I think getting that initial 3D printer you got in a box of parts with no instructions was generally harder in difficulty level than any of the business-sided stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, I bought that. I watched a YouTube video one night at like 2 a.m, and I'm like, I could do that.
Yeah.
So I bought the cheapest thing I could find on eBay and had it delivered to my house. It took forever to get here. And then when I got it here, there was no instructions. There was like just a box of random crap, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And I just started putting it together.
Yep.
And it did not work at all. Like it was terrible. And I took the time and the effort to get it to print really well, actually. Like I've been complimented from people who've bought really, really expensive printers. And you know, they'll have me like, oh, can you try to print my product? And like, if it goes well, I'll see if, maybe we can partner up. And they'll be like, oh, you must have this printer or that printer. I'm like, no, I have this thing. And then they look it up and they're like, there's no way that came off of that. And I'm like, well, at the time that was the only one I had. So I'm like, sure it did, because it's the only printer I got.
Yep.
And then it got to the point where a friend of mine wanted to get into it. So he bought the same one, even though I advised him not to.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, this thing doesn't work. And I'm like, yeah, this is what you got to do. And then it kind of snowballed from that. Like, now I think I have 5.
Yeah. You were just talking about another one. I forgot to ask Nicole if there's a Micro Center.
Yeah, I don't know when that sale ends, but that's a really good deal. And actually, for like $30 more than that sale, there's an even better printer that I can just order. So I might
just do that.
I might just do that it's getting too close to Christmas now. Mm-hmm. So I don't really want to order anything currently, but it's a really good sale. Mm-hmm. That's a resin printer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that can print some pretty cool stuff too. But I mean, that could be a whole nother podcast. Like, all this stuff is just like tidbits of like stuff that I've had going on.
Yeah. Like,
I think I've talked about it on the modcast, where a bunch of us moderate a Discord for a decently sized YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And he's actually sent me a belt printer upgrade for a printer that I bought from Micro Center for a really good price that I have yet to put together, just because
we're so busy.
Like, that'll be cool to get that together. And I think when I get that together, I'm gonna let Mike hold me to this, because I know if nobody holds me to it, I won't do it. But I need to get that belt printer put together, and then I'm gonna start a YouTube channel for this printer. I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but all it's gonna do is it's just gonna sit there and print. Mm-hmm. And it's just gonna video it printing, and it'll probably just be hours of it printing stuff. So if anybody is interested in that kind of thing,
yeah,
or if you just want some strange video to watch and fall asleep to, that'll be coming in probably in the beginning of the new year. So
I do that, not with 3D printers, but I do like people will just YouTube live stream like their camera feeds, and you just watch them. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there's stuff there, sometimes there's not stuff.
I used to watch a channel where they would just live stream their parking lot.
Yeah.
Because it has no parking signs.
Yeah.
And the people would go to some restaurants or whatever, and they'd get their cars towed. I used to watch that for hours. I don't know why. I just thought it was interesting. Like, to watch somebody get out, physically look at the sign, and just decide, like, yeah, they're not going to tow me.
And then they do.
And then they get towed anyway. It's kind of amusing. I don't know. Did
you guys get to see when they came back reaction?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they show it all. It's
nice.
So funny. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no like thought process that this live streaming of the 3D printer thing is gonna by any means like blow up to some huge channel, but
no.
It's just something that I thought some people might be interested in, because if you don't know what a belt printer does, it can repeatedly just print the same item over and over again and dump it into a bin. Mm-hmm. And just until it runs out of filament. Like, it'll just keep going.
Not to get off the 3D printing thing, another thing just came to mind. Next April, we're gonna do a movie premiere.
Oh yeah.
Movie premiere.
Yeah, that was something. I wasn't really involved in that at all. But that's definitely an interesting story for another podcast.
Yeah.
Stems all the way back from the early days of our previous place of employment.
Yeah, for sure. My kid says, when you have 5 IMDb credits, then I'll take you seriously.
What do you have, 3?
I have 3. And remember when we went down, we talked about 2 more?
Right.
Yeah. I came home and I said, pretty sure I got my 5. Now what? So, yeah. This is I don't know if I ever talked about this on a pod before, but I did an audition for a commercial.
No, I don't think we ever talked about that.
Yeah, I did a it's in the grill space. Like, so I did an audition. This actress producer reached out to me on Instagram, and I guess she must have looked at everything that I had going on, because I have most things like linked together in one way or another. And she's like, I think this would be perfect for you. Are you interested? And gave me a few things to send over. And the funny thing was, she reached out, I messaged back, she messaged me, and I missed the deadline. Like by a lot. And I'm like, oh man, I didn't see this in time. Are you guys still looking for someone? And she inevitably got me an appointment, a time with the casting director, I think. And I hadn't been watching the thread because that was like right in the middle of dinner time, and so I'm have dinner with the family, and I look back, and when I'm looking at it, it's 3 minutes past when they told me to get on. So in most cases you'd think it's done. So I reach out to her. I said, didn't see this. Long story short, she made it happen. I got the audition. So that's a cool thing. What else? There's some, like you said before, without having a list of these things, it's randomly hard to remember. There's the Horseman benefit, the Shriners Hospital benefit.
Yeah, the Shriners Hospital run, that was pretty amazing this year.
Yeah, Dan and Joe, who actually works at the Smoke Shack, they were the pit masters at that event.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Over doubled the donation to the hospital. I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm setting a crazy goal for 23s.
Isn't it 10?
I want to do 10.
Yeah.
10 grand, and
yep.
It might be crazy, but it's my goal, so
we'll hit it.
I'm pretty. I don't know how I feel about the goal. I set it and I'm sticking to it, so it is what it is.
I mean, I have a bet with Justin going.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
That's
inevitably.
A whole nother episode on that one.
Yeah.
Justin has a really funny nickname, but I'm not going to put it on the air.
Yeah. until we do.
Until it's the episode.
Until it's the episode title.
Age of the, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Just think, it's like Age of Ultron, right?
Yeah.
But it's not Ultron.
It's all about our good buddy Justin.
Yeah.
Way better, as he says over there. Oh, child down.
Man down, man down. On the floor.
Yeah.
Just sitting.
Only fell about 7 inches on a padded diaper, so we're all right.
Yeah.
Geez, there's just so much stuff, man. Like, got invited to some stuff that we just couldn't do because we were so tapped. Like, that day for the one for the 5 events, there was a 6th one, and I'm like, we can't do it.
Oh,
like,
Lake City?
I'm like, we can't do it.
Isn't that Lake City?
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way we can do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people didn't like that answer from me, but I'm like, I can't be in all these places at one time. Like,
yeah, we did not do the 5 the way I wanted to do the 5. Adding a 6 would have lowered the overall output for sure.
We've done a couple of events. I'm not going to name which events they were, but a couple of events came to us and they're like, there's going to be this many people there. be ready for this. Like, this is going to be huge, blah, 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 blah. And then the event was for whatever reason, the event was just poorly attended. And then, we do another event, and I will call him out.
Yeah. Okay.
My good friend Joe. We do his event, and he's like, oh, I'm expecting, this many people, and it blows it out of the water. So it's just been like, we've had so many roller coaster rides this year. It's been kind of funny.
So let's stick there. And Joe, if you do listen to this, I'm just repeating what you say about yourself. Joe, I asked Joe for numbers because he hooks us up and helps us get into events, which I'm very appreciative of, Joe. But then, like we say, what's the expectation? And he'll make a call. So this is what I've come to learn about Joe. If he says 100, you need to be ready about 250. You get whatever number he gives you.
Absolutely.
Do it by a multiple of 2.5. And that's probably the actual number. And that's decently consistent. So, probably the biggest event in the calendar year that turned out to be way more than expected was Celebrate.
Oh my God. Celebrate Erie, lunchtime was kind of slow, and then as soon as 5 o'clock hit, that line never stopped until like 9. And we ended up just having to shut it down because we sold everything we had.
Yeah. At the very end, they were eating like smoked hot dogs and smoked.
That was our staff food.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't even intending on initially selling that stuff. That was just like what we had. People were just like, I don't care, what do you got? And that was crazy.
It's funny because the folks at the restaurant never have done food service, so we'd get busy at Elmwood, and they thought it was so busy.
Yeah.
And their minds have forever been changed to understand the concept of
being busy.
Yeah. When you're 40 deep, your queue line is 40 deep for 5+ hours.
I don't know that we talked about this after Celebrate Erie, but they approached, like, some of the coordinators approached me and complained about the food that they had for the VIP section. And they were like, I don't understand why they just didn't come to you and tell you they needed this much food for this many people. And then somebody could have just came up here and got it from you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, we could have took it down there. And they were like, well, we're gonna keep this in our notes for next year. So
yeah,
like,
maybe folks will be at Celebrate Erie VIP section next year. Oh, wait, this is a good one. Can't forget about the press box.
The press box.
The box seating.
Oh. Yeah.
Right? There might be box seating in the future of Outlaw. Can't tell you where. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I told Mike a long time ago, like I think it'd be cool when we're able to get a box seat somewhere and have like the, whatever, the name of the business, and this is their box seat. Like, I thought that, and it's kind of funny because in 12 months we're right there.
Yeah. We had
vastly approaching.
Yeah, we already sat down and had the conversation with somebody who's in that world, and who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? What else? I mean, I don't really want to get too much into the expansion stuff just yet, but there's, within Erie County itself, there's a lot of things coming. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Like I said, this is a teaser episode. So.
Yeah. And then when you get outside of Erie County, there's at least a handful of things being developed, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to hit spices or sauces for this Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Spices, maybe we might be able to hit for this Christmas time.
We will.
So if you watch the website or watch the Facebook, you might be able to get a link to buy some gift packs of spices.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal is to get it out before the holiday season, but I don't know that we're going to be able to land it.
So Justin's actually involved with that. Justin and Joe are
two different Joes.
Yeah, there's two Joes that we were talking about in this pod. One of the Joes and Justin are going to front end a lot of the heavy lifting on the spice side of it. It's merely a matter of bringing them both in on a day, because once they use the machine it is done.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a whole complicated process. I mean, you just got to get everything set, and then when you switch spice, that's where it kind of comes a little bit tedious.
Yep.
Because you got to, make sure it's all cleaned out, and then reset it for the next spice, because some of them are heavy on the herb side, which flow out differently than the ones that aren't.
Right.
So there's some adjustments to be made and get that all tuned in. But I mean, that one night, I don't remember how many we bottled a lot with just a couple of us there.
300 to 500 bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should be able to get it up and running for the holiday season. If any of you guys are interested in that, I think we'll probably do triple box set. There might be a couple different ones. I've been pushing to do a mystery box. I don't know how much traction that's getting. To use up some of our previous stock of our kind of amusing Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day shirts.
Oh yeah.
I think they're funny. I think they're great shirts.
Yeah, that one we can probably execute on like right now.
Just a mystery box of swag.
Like you have 3 different levels.
Yeah.
Like you have a $10, $15, and a $20 mystery box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think the only thing that you would have to do is put in like sizing, and then you can fire those out. If anybody's interested in any of that stuff. I don't know that we have a T-shirt or anything for the podcast. Maybe that's something we could work on.
Yeah.
Get a podcast shirt maybe.
Oh, again. There's 3 sets of. They're like a People's Choice thing, but there's 3 of them going on, and this podcast is in all 3 of them.
Yeah, that was kind of cool to find out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing that we didn't even talk about. I mean, we didn't win anything, but we were nominated for 7 categories, and I don't remember which one it was called, Erie's Best or Erie's Choice or whatever it was, but
yeah. I
mean, that was kind of cool just to see it. Like, I didn't even know about it. My great uncle called my grandfather and said, "Hey, you guys are in the newspaper," and I'm like, "Oh boy." And I went and looked at it, and I started counting. I'm like, "Oh geez, we're in 7 categories." I'm like, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because at that time we had only been open for
5 to 7 months.
Yeah, like very short.
Yeah. It's just cool in my mind, my brain, to recognize that, like, so the ones that got published are the top 5 of all the nominations by count. So I have no idea what the spread is, and only being 5 to 7 months, I can't imagine like we were 1 away from.
I mean, we were going up against some, pretty heavy hitters in town.
Yeah, so like literally the best in the categories in Erie.
Yeah.
So I thought it was super cool to be up there with all those folks. It's kind of like the signature chef auction. Like I'm up there with guys that are like really well known.
Oh yeah, top tier. Man.
Yeah. Like, and I remember when at least a couple of chefs came by, but they were for different things. Like, some of them commented on the slider, and some of them commented on the Southwest roasted corn salsa, and then other ones commented on the twisted pepper slaw. And Alyssa and Lindsay were talking about people themselves were coming up just asking for some of the things. And so instead of, I'd like all three, hey, I really like that, can I just get that? And I thought that's pretty cool. It was pretty neat, because the best, I only have really one rule, is, do I think it's delicious, right? There's all the folks that are more classically trained, right? But me, is it delicious? Do I like the texture? Does it evolve the flavor like I want it? So it was cool to be a part of all those things. Like, it's, you think, we talk, Dan and I talk about this, like, where were we 5 years ago, right? And I think the running joke is, if you had said to the older version of yourself, or the, I guess, technically younger version in time, would you be here? And I don't think.
I don't know, you're crazy.
Even Justin, same thing. Like,
yeah. People like, oh, you've always been in the restaurant industry?
No. No, I have not.
I don't even know if I technically am in the restaurant industry.
yeah.
And then I'm like the most unpersonable person ever. And people are always like, oh, you're so personable. I'm like, what the heck? Like, oh, you're such a pleasure to talk to you. I'm like, huh? All right.
Yep. Take the compliments as you can get them.
Yeah, it's funny.
Well, we'll close it here.
I enjoyed this format. I think probably do a little more of these.
Yeah.
From the shack.
Yeah.
It literally is a shack, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a nice shack, but it is a shack. Justin and myself spent countless hours in this shack.
Yeah.
It was some interesting times. If those would have been recorded, I don't know. But
yeah,
very funny. But yeah, I think it's a good stopping point. Enough teasing for our audience.
I'd love to go deep into any one of those topics, but I know that's more than an episode.
Oh yeah,
worth of content. Like, Ella's even more than an episode worth of content. She might be a future pitmaster. She does have a fascination with fire.
They're first, right?
Yeah. So we'll end it here, guys. Until next time, this is Cowboy Mike, Dan, and an unmiked Justin and Ella. We'll catch you guys later.
See you, folks.
Before we guys go, one more thing. We are trying to grow the podcast, and we know that the best way to grow the podcast is through word of mouth. So if you did enjoy this episode, I recommend maybe have a listen to some of our other episodes and share this with anyone who you think might enjoy it. We would appreciate that. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us grow the podcast. And we're gonna layer on some other things, like Dan said. We're gonna work on some t-shirts. There is a Facebook page. If you search for the name of this podcast, BBQ, Bikes, Brew, Q, and everything in between. There's a Facebook page you can follow. We will try. Facebook actually removed their podcasting component to those pages, but we will post the links to the individual episodes in there. But until next time, this is Cowboy Mike. Like I always say, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and in all things, show compassion. I'll catch you later. Bye now.